All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Anderson Analysis. I am Mike on the mic, and with me, as always, is Jasmine Gray.
Hey.
And like I said before, don't get fooled by your last name because you're full of color. And also with us is Ankush Bhandari. I said that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
I'm going to let Ankush give a little introduction about himself and his expertise and what he can bring to this show, and then we'll get right into it.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, for bringing me to your show. A little bit, but I want to let you a little introduction to your audience. I work in IT field. I am a legal immigrant here. Came here a couple of years back. It took me around 13 years to get my green card. And as you know, I also work on geopolitics. I have written a book on geopolitics, Geopolitics Redefined, Punctured Truth and Glamorous Lies.
You've written multiple books. Is that
right?
Yeah.
And then I have written a couple of articles. Around 85 articles so far I have written on different websites. I have been to a couple of shows earlier too, but that's a brief introduction, and thank you again so much for bringing me on your show.
It's our pleasure, and I'm very interested to get your insight on everything that we're going to talk about today, which is going to be focused on the illegal migrants that are going to be what would you say, storming our hotels?
Flooding our area?
Flooding the hotels and just...
This surge.
The most burning issue of the century, I will say, till date for America, right?
Yeah.
We can deal with other issues, but we can't deal with the illegal immigrants here because it's on the rise, multi-million rise.
No, and that's the scariest part about it, is that it's so much.
Yeah, before we start, I just want to say, it's... A lot of people, have that misconception that, we don't want more people coming here. No. We're all about having people come here, but legally. There has to be a vetting process. I mean, so many people have came here legally. You came here legally.
I came on work visa.
My mother came here legally from the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And I'm so... blessed that my father was able to get her entire family out on the last day of the Vietnam War. And that was miraculous. And I'm so grateful for that. But just before we get started, it's about coming into this country legally.
In any country, I will say, it should be legal immigrant, right?
Oh, the process to...
How many other countries actually have open borders? I don't think it's that many.
No. India has one time had open borders because of when in 1971 a lot of people was being killed by Pakistan Army. They opened the border and they give refuge to 10 million people. But I haven't heard after that India has opened its border for any other people.
They learned their lesson.
They have learned their lesson.
They learned their lesson and said, we're not doing this
wait a minute,
again.
none of this makes sense.
Wait a minute.
Huge influx in crime.
And the horror part is, see, Article 42 has been not once it's done, they have not implemented it again.
No.
So let's do that. Actually, let's dive into what Article 42 states. I'm not, admittedly, I'm not an expert on that.
Why don't you pull it up? Let's see what...
I think Ankush is doing it. You're pulling it up, right?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. What Article 42 says. So it says that migrants were returned over the border and denied the right to seek asylum. U.S. officials turned away migrants more than 2.8 million times. Families and children traveling alone were also exempted, but there were no real consequences when someone illegally crossed the border. So if you see, our agency is the Homeland Security, which is the main agency looking after the security of our country, right? Its borders.
Right, yeah.
Along with the Border Patrol Forces, along with our other agencies like FBI and CIA and the Department of Justice, all the fancy agencies we have in the in the Washington DC. I'm surprised that they are just tight-lipped.
Yeah,
it's
not just
it was only
agencies, it's everybody,
5 century states in America. Now it's 11.
Last I saw it was 11 sanctuary states.
Yeah. So if you or Jasmine can
12,
tell to the audience what sanctuary states, if they didn't know, it will be good, because till yesterday I even didn't know what sanctuary state is. I thought
exactly what that entails. What is exactly I think.
It varies for sure. So the
very unclear.
The legal
very
definition
unclear.
varies between. I think it's between state and state, state to state, as well as city to city, even within those states. But
Right.
I think the general law is that it limits what the local law enforcement can do working with federal agencies to get rid of illegal immigrants. So they can't really patrol it.
Okay, so then
So they used to be able to like
so this is
call in ICE.
So this
But now
is
they don't.
strictly, looking at things from a legal stance. If somebody enters illegally, and now what about all the funding that's going into helping these individuals when they get here? I mean, who is funding that? I would love to know the breakdown
Yeah.
of cost, as well as is there a number of people we can take?
Right.
Is there, is there a
And
cap on that?
I think the safe answer is no.
And how do we know if
We have
people
no
are coming?
idea.
Exactly.
We
So-
have no idea. There is no bulletin by any of the agencies which shows that, okay, like when I came legally here, if you go to the USCIS agency website, you can see, okay, how many people they have legally given the green cards, or how many people have illegally given the H1 visa or the F1 visa or the E1 visa. It has the number.
Yeah.
So
you could track the people that are here. Sure.
You have 2019 this much, 2020 this much, 2022 this much.
Right.
Even they also says how many have been rejected. And if you want to see the reasons, then you have to drill a little more. But just to conclude what the century policies are, it places the public at risk by preventing the federal authorities from locating, arresting, and prosecuting the criminal aliens. So it means it's a simple thing. You come, you do whatever you want to do, you rob our banks, you kill our people, whatever you want to do, you rape the woman, we are not going to touch you.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's
we
exactly
see that.
that's what's
That
very
means,
scary.
right?
You know what I want-
Also, given that they're not doing background checks, this
No,
is
without a doubt. Obviously, they're not. And we could allude, because I want to ask you a question specifically, because I know that you've been to the border multiple times and you've spoken to some of these people that are crossing the border, many of these people that are crossing the border.
Many.
But I want to just make a point where what you had just said, you said that these illegal immigrants can come over our borders and rob our banks
Exactly.
and do everything, but you're considering yourself, which you are, an American citizen. When you talk when you talk to a lot of these illegal immigrants, they don't even consider America their country, and I see that a lot.
A lot, especially when they have come, because first of all, they are not open to say that we are illegal here. They,
Of course,
they want
yeah,
to
right.
hide themselves, right? And second, if
Well, not anymore. I don't think it matters at this point.
yeah. So, but now with the influx we have, the legal people will be in minorities in the couple of years. I can give you that in writing.
Legal immigrants
Legal people
will
here.
be in the minority.
Yes,
of
because-
immigrants.
Yeah, legal people. The people of America will come as a minority in couple of years if this influx goes for another couple of years, maybe by 2030, because they are huge coming inside.
Well, I mean, that
one
would-
time I heard 10 million, other time I heard 40
we
million.
don't know.
Well, I
don't
heard it was.
know.
I mean, I thought the number was like 11 to 12 million, but that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, so 10 years, if 10
More than 10
million
years
comes in every year, just 100 millions already come. And what's the population of Americans? 330 million.
320, yeah, 330.
Yeah, and if it continues for another 20 years, there will be more than us, right?
Yeah.
It's a simple mathematics. You don't have to be.
No, you don't have to be.
Yeah, you don't have to be
Rhodes Scholar for it, yeah.
Harvard graduate in
Yeah.
doing that maths, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I mean, it's scary.
I am not against anybody to come to America. America is a land of dream. When I was in India, when I landed here, I said, "Oh wow, this is the land of dream." I am not against anybody. What I am against is I should know I am paying 35% of the taxes of my hard-earned money. Where exactly that money is being spent by the government of America for, and where and when,
Yeah, I agree. It should be audited for sure.
right?
Yeah, without a doubt. Without
Yeah.
a doubt.
When we can be audited, we can be questioned
Right.
for every single cent. We have to give the answers. Why don't these people cannot be answered by the Department of Justice or anybody?
Because it's the government cartel, is what it comes down. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, the government is the cartel. I mean, they peddle drugs with vaccines. They peddle drugs with legal drugs.
Yep.
What they label legal drugs.
Fentanyl, fentanyl is the main problem Americans are facing. More than 100 million Americans are already having the fentanyl issues, you know.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And see the number of the homeless. California is now called the state of homeless. Out of 10 top homeless states, cities in the United States, 8 are in California.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And still, they are saying, "Oh, we welcome the illegal immigrants." You want to make the whole California as a homeless?
Well, this is the thing. Can I just chime in?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
You know, so, all right. You brought up, the homeless issue in California. I think it's very obvious that we obviously cannot handle our own. We haven't been able to help our veterans, those that fought for our freedom, to keep this country so great and amazing.
Yep.
We are in desperate need of resources. So how are we expecting to help all these people that are coming over? Now, the homeless situation in New Jersey, every Friday I am in Paterson.
Jersey City.
It's being there and seeing it on the ground. When I first
plug Joe's thing.
Well, yeah. So a friend of ours has a nonprofit called His Helping Hands, and basically, he feeds the homeless, which a lot of them are dealing with mental issues, especially addiction.
Yep.
And so that's where Joe tries to, get them into a facility to basically get them off the street. He's been, putting together resources. So if we can get somebody at that
really
moment,
a fantastic organization.
Yeah, if we can get somebody at that moment, and we have 2 months ago, I think we got 3 people within a matter of like couple weeks. We just got them at the right moment. Like, hey, you really going to go another season like this? I mean, this winter was rough for you. And they were like,
but
okay.
there's also a limitation, Jess. I want to say, how many people we can feed?
Yeah.
With the inflation so high, right? Now everything is 40% high, right?
Yeah.
Everything is minimum 40% high in the last 2 years, right? It's a complete chaos over here. Means it's complete.
Well,
I don't know what word I will say, but how much we can feed? We can't feed 100 million.
No, you're right.
Homeless
You're absolutely
or
right.
illegal.
Yes, you're right. But the saddest part, and I think what Jasmine's kind of alluding to, is the fact that we have American people that are suffering. Why are we pushing them to the side and throwing money at the people that just jumped the border, that didn't wait in line like many people wanted to in the past or had to in the past?
Years, right? Yeah. I waited for many years. Don't you think my blood will boil when I see 10 illegal immigrants?
I was going to ask you that question a bit later on. Like, how much does it bother someone that went through the process legally, did all the paperwork, filled out everything, waited years? I can only imagine
spent thousands of dollars for the attorney fees, for the legal fees, right? Government fees.
Imagine.
It's probably crazy.
Spend thousands of dollars, and then you never know. They can give you an RFE, which is called the requisition for more information. They called it, and then you have to work with your attorney. You have a sleepless night. It's scary. It's really scary, and you don't know.
Because there's always a chance you could get denied,
out,
right?
You can get denied, and the denial is you have to live within 30 days. If you have a house, how can you sell a house in 30 days? If you have a car, how can you sell a car in 30 days? If your kids are going to school or colleges, do you think you can take them out within 30 days?
To think all you had to do was swim across the river.
Yes, the best and the easiest way. Come across the river, stay there in their camps for a couple of days or weeks, and then you can go anywhere in the US, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
You are a free bird.
You do whatever you want, and you get paid for it.
And you get paid for it. You get your Obamacare, right? You get
cell phone,
license.
Obama phone, yeah.
You know that the fees are waived. They're basically
yeah.
For
they're just totally free phones.
Yeah.
No, not the phones. Well,
I would
they're free.
If
Just
they're
25
government
bucks.
issued, yeah. No, I'm talking about over at DMV. Yeah, they're giving free licenses. Yes.
See, they are giving
I
free
know
license.
a couple people that I spoke to that told me about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you get free phone, 25 bucks you pay. It's not a big deal.
Waived.
You get shelter. You sleep over there. You get free food coupons. You have your food. You get your Obamacare, medical care. Then why they should work?
And now
No, you shouldn't.
there's
Well, yeah, there's
housing.
no incentive.
And now, well, I'll tell you why you should work. Why they are going to work. Can I?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Really,
So
bring it up.
yeah,
I'm
they
interested.
are going to work. You know why they're going to work? Because we are aiding and abetting in human trafficking. I've been to the border
Yeah.
twice.
Thank you.
And I will tell you right now that nobody crosses for free. So even though our government may not be securing that border, I can tell you with, in
With
confidence.
purity, right,
Yes, that
The cartel knows who goes over.
The cartels are guarding our border.
Yeah, sure.
Because they are going to shoot anybody that attempts to cross over without paying them. We are aiding and abetting in human trafficking. So right now, it costs between $5,000 to $7,000 to cross over. Of course, a lot of these people who are escaping poverty, extreme conditions, do not have that money. So, of course, well, you can travel for free and you can pay it off when you get there. And that is when they become enslaved. Either they are sent to a place, either they are sent to a place where it's forced labor for women, human sex trafficking.
Yeah, and even if I don't want to cut you. A couple of months back, I saw in Missouri and all those, there were the areas where they were bonded laborers, like we
Yes,
used to work
it's
bonded labor. You're
modern
right.
day human slavery. It's
Right.
happening
Yeah,
right now across the whole entire nation. Now, so you're looking at a $5,000 to $7,000, fee to cross over. Now they have to work this off, and the interest now it goes up to 10, 15, 20.
Right,
And now
right.
somebody I spoke to, 25,000 from 5,000. So they are working.
And if they don't pay,
but this
either
is
they
the-
die or their family gets.
Yeah.
killed.
And Mike,
So-
I have a big question. Yeah, you go ahead and then I will ask both.
Okay,
other-
good. Finish up.
See, I lost my train of thought. No, this is the point I wanted to make really quick. So we are paying, and funding for them to come here,
Right.
by providing all these resources, and they're going to work and they're going to pay off their debt. So we are basically putting money in the cartel's pockets. Now, also, before, I hand the mic over to you, there's been multiple banks, this, big name banks that were, basically caught funding the cartels, helping to help them, line their pockets. This
So
is
this all
we're
is going behind the scenes,
We
right?
are all
This all is
aiding-
going behind the scenes
We are
and-
all aiding and abetting, human trafficking, and we are helping the cartels. And just think of this really quick. Think of how quickly the cartels took over all of Mexico. It used to just be in the central region by Mexico City.
Right.
How long till that happens here? Till the cartels set up their camps, have their gangs, because there's so many new gangs popping up now, and then they take over.
And I think California is already working on cartels, right? If I'm not wrong, California. That's why we have so much homeless people, right?
I guess
because they
I'm
are
not,
giving-
I'm not full. I'm not the most versed in the. the cartel.
With the so a majority of the people coming over, yes, those are people that are truly trying to escape poverty and are looking for a better life. Think of how many people are risking their life to
but-
get
but- I have a question
Hold on.
is-
If there's majority of good people, but the cartel straps a bomb on them and goes in there and says, "Go blow this place up," you're not going to let them in, even though they're good people. You're just not going to do it. You can't just open your doors to people coming in here illegally.
See,
I'm not saying you're saying you should, but I'm just reiterating the fact that,
I'm
like,
not
yeah, you
saying
can't.
that, but at the same time, I'm also compassionate
Right.
to the people that are willing to risk their lives and their children's lives for a chance, just a glimmer at a better life. And I know,
but yes,
look at these other third world countries.
Yeah, see, I will.
But
Right.
they cannot come in like this.
Yeah.
This
Right.
is my stance.
Right? Yeah.
But
I agree.
am compassionate.
Yeah,
I
of
am
course.
very compassionate.
No, I agree with you. But one thing I disagree with you is America already have the laws for asylums,
Right.
right?
Right.
America already if Afghanistan happened, they are saying, okay, we have put the people in Germany, and I don't know what happened. I stopped tracking that. I tracked them for the couple of months. Then I stopped tracking them. What is happening with those people? When Vietnam happened, your parents you told, come here legally, right?
Yeah.
When Korea happened, people came here legally. China, Soviet Union breakdown, people came here legally, right? Second World War, people came illegally, so they are under a category called asylum, right? Like when I came, I was not an asylum. I was working on a work visa, so I came under a different category. So under the law, they have very very good category. I understand. I'm not against anyone to come over here, right? Because I believe in Vasudev Kutumbakam. That's what we call world is one. My only question is, if there are people who really want to leave their country and come over there, at the borders, instead of illegal,
Do it legally, right?
yeah, they can do it legally. They can set up the camps there. They can build up the areas and say, okay, these are 5 people. We can let them in. They are good enough. We have done the background checks. There should be a proper process
Sure.
of do that.
Right.
That's only my concern.
Right.
You know.
But to both your points, I don't for a second think that the cartel doesn't use these people. Like, yeah, I think that they would appreciate, and I have no proof of this. This is just, my thought on it is, if someone wants to come over here, they want to seek a better life. That's one thing, right?
All right.
I wouldn't put it past the cartel or other criminal enterprises to say, hey, Bob, you're going to go to America and you're going to pay us this money, or otherwise we're going to kill your family. Like, they may not want to go.
Exactly, and it has become like a
So they're
outsourcing.
kind of-
Has
yeah.
America outsourced the illegal immigrant to cartels then?
Right.
Right? We have already outsourced everything. Now the illegal immigrants' hypocrisy is now being outsourced to these cartels so that they can make the money and the banks are with them.
Well, the
It's a
cartels
scary
the
situation.
cartels know that, like, America basically just pays for all these people. Like, we're going to get that money. The whole thing. I remember the argument years ago. Obviously, when you had like the immigrant labor, especially in the construction field, for sure. It's like you know
That's
they're going to
another
send
thing.
they're going to hold on. They're going to send the money home. Right. That was the thing. They're going to send the money home. Now, I'm sure they are sending the money home. Who's getting the money? I don't know. I mean, this has probably been going on for a long time. It's just now it's so blatantly clear. And just before you say your point, which we're going to get to in a little while anyway, is the cost that we are being told or that we hear is what we're paying for these illegal migrants to stay here is astronomical.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that in a few minutes. But what did you want to say just now?
Well, I just wanted to bring up that now you're seeing more and more. You've always saw it, like if you dug around on a couple major, construction websites that they say they do not take part in human trafficking.
Yeah,
You'll see that.
yeah,
Now you're finding
Like
it
all
on
American
so
labor.
many websites. But
Yeah.
that just shows you how big of an issue this is.
Exactly.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, it's a moneymaker.
It's absolutely. Well,
It's a tsunami here now. I will
human
say,
trafficking
right?
is
It's a tsunami
$150 billion a year industry. It has surpassed drug trafficking.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. You have all the fentanyl in the world pouring in through our southern border. And as you mentioned before, it's an issue. It's a major issue. It's the
100
leading
million
cause of death.
Yeah.
It's the leading cause of death for those 18 to 45.
Yeah, and it is being said that I was reading an article. It said more than 100 million people in America are addicted to fentanyl. That's a scary number.
This is the thing, though. When have you ever seen all these, all these drugs, being cut with, the same agent? It's like at first it was just you were seeing it in
Has
opioid.
anyone done fentanyl and not been addicted to it in the smallest amount? Like, I don't know anything about
See,
it in that regard.
See, when I read its structure, the chemical structure, if you use it for a couple of days, because it's okay, but if you keep on, because it takes you to the other world, okay?
Right.
So like opium and all those stuff, but it's a chemical. Opium is a natural one, right?
Right.
So it takes you to the other world. So when you are in those Disney world, so if you want to take it, then it's become addiction.
Mm-hmm.
It's addiction of everything. Like people have an addiction of Coke.
Yeah, but
coffee,
I guess
everything.
What I'm saying is the potency of it so, like, you don't have the ability to, like, you could fight addiction, I'm sure, with anything, but I mean, does that kind of like negate it to the point where it's like you could, like, you can't fight the addiction even though you just tried it like once?
No, I don't think that's
Okay.
the case with fentanyl. What I understand from the chemical structure, I think if you get it for a purpose and you take it for a couple of days and then you stop it, you are done.
And you know about the chemical structure because you have a background in
Pharmacy.
pharmacology, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just so you know.
So one thing also I want to tell you here is, like, for the COVID, right? When we are as a worker here, as an employee, I have to take the COVID shots or I will be fired from the company because they have made very strict laws now. And even the government of the state of New Jersey used to give call, hey, you have taken the first dose, when you're taking the second, when you're taking the booster, blah blah blah.
None of them.
But my question to this administration is, are all laws only for the Americans?
Yeah. Yes. The answer
So
is yes.
they are not bringing any COVID symptom from there?
No, I'm sure they are.
Well,
No, my question to them is, I am sure they are,
Yeah.
but my question to this administration is, Biden administration is, that you are welcoming them with a open hand and hugging them. Are they all resistant to COVID?
Yeah,
Are they
yeah.
human beings or they aliens?
Well, if you ask that question, you obviously
So-
don't like brown people, is what they say.
when I was down at the border, so we had went out, several nights, and we were tipped off by former ICE agents, border patrol agents, because they really are desperate down there. So they're like, oh, you want? There's a lot of activity, but go check out this area. And we were actually pulled over on the side
crazy.
of the road trying to find our way because we were in the middle of nowhere. It was a
Right.
bunch of us in this huge SUV, and all of a sudden, a cop comes up and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And we told him. We were very honest, and he's like, and he got a call. He got on the radio, and he was like, "Go here." And so we did, and what we saw there was wild. We saw a couple hundred people crossing over. There was one border patrol agent kind of like directing traffic. All right, go down this road. And we had she was actually a congressional candidate over in Nevada, I believe, but she spoke Spanish, and we spoke to a bunch of people.
Do you know why the cop was even called?
I don't even know.
Like, it
I
doesn't
didn't
sound
see-
like
I-
he was needed.
I did not see him there. Like, he was a police officer.
Maybe he heard it come over the
I
radio
don't
or
know.
something.
Yeah, but there was only one, and I have footage of this. We filmed the whole thing.
So it means what
but let me just tell you. So as they're coming over, they had just crossed over. They didn't look like they walked, thousands of miles. But so Jamie was talking to them, and they basically confirmed, yeah, they are dropped off right at the border, and they get to walk across. And so we started following
not
them.
even a mile, I have heard, right? They just
No, they dropped them off right
Yeah.
at the border, right there. They have
like
buses.
if I just walk
The
here to the Ridge
cartels
Road, right? That's
are
the
going
walking
to
they do.
they drop them off right
Right.
there, and then they
Right.
come out from the bushes. It's wild. I have it all on film. You should add it to your.
Yeah,
And-
well, I'll put
but
it on.
listen. So we follow them down the road, and finally we get to the end of the road, and there's waiting ambulances, right? And there's multiple buses to take them to the makeshift processing center,
Oh
which
my
was
God.
under the bridge that was about 10 minutes away. So at the processing center, if they need medical care, they'll get
Yeah.
it. They get
Yeah, of
new
course.
clothes, which was a sweatsuit. So sweatshirt, sweatpants. It actually looked like prison garb, and they all got new white sneakers, prison garb. That's
Really?
what it looked like.
Wow.
They got their backpack. They got their, they were told where they were going to go. They got their flight information. And we
Oh
know
my
this because we were
God.
told, now go
Now
to.
we understand.
This isn't an unorganized thing.
They told us.
This is insane.
But this is the thing. The people
Oh my
that
God.
live in that area were like, now go to the airport tomorrow. So we went to McAllen Airport, and we have footage of that too. You saw everybody there, everybody going to different parts. So we started to talk to people. Well, some were like, oh, I'm going to Chicago. Others were like, I'm going to New Jersey, New York, Florida, whatever it was.
Rutherford.
So we also asked, did you get a COVID test? No.
course
Did
not.
they ask you about your vaccine status? No. Okay, so we're in the midst of this, vaccine mandates and COVID and all these strains. This was a while ago that we had
Right, right.
and sorry. And none of them got tested.
So that's the problem, right?
So don't tell me you're scared about COVID and this and that, and you're allowing all these people.
Yeah.
Nobody had a background check. They just gave them flights. So you know what the folder said? The folder said, because they carried a folder and they had a small little like kitchen garbage bag with some items, that they or small backpack. All the same items were given to all of them. Their folder said, I don't speak English. If you have any questions, call this number. And I might have that. I think
really?
I took a picture. Yeah.
Probably just a lawyer.
So just think for a second before we move ahead. That these people, when I travel last year to the south for vacations, and I have to show them my vaccination card. When I traveled to India last year,
last year, yeah.
I have to show them my vaccination card that yes, I'm going out of the country, and I have both the vaccine doses. I also have the booster, 1 dose. So that they said, okay, that's fine, right? When I entered back, again I have to show them, but at that time I don't have to show them the test and all those stuff, right? But they said, okay, you have. So just see how this means. Are the American people are imbecile?
Yes.
Right?
For the most part. Would you have taken the vaccine if you
It's
weren't?
convoluted. The whole situation is so convoluted,
You
right?
don't have to be a genius to see that.
Would you
just
have
to
taken
have common sense?
A little off subject. I just want to know: would you have taken the vaccine if you weren't technically forced to?
No, never.
No, okay.
Because see, I'm a pharmacist. When
Right.
when this thing come, I said this is a viral infection. There is no dose for this. Okay, because it will come. You have to. After taking vaccine, I get COVID. Can you imagine that?
I could imagine that.
Okay, I wish I would not have taken vaccine because when I get COVID,
Right.
I will get my antibodies inside automatically, right?
Exactly.
So, and people were crazy at that time. We don't have this what was their sprays, right? What you
The antibacterial.
antibacterial sprays and all those.
Right.
I said you don't have to. I will just take 30 more seconds. One of my neighbor was really mad the other day. He was parking. I don't get this and blah blah. I said you don't have to worry. No. I went there. I touched there. I said okay. You go to your home. Put a little bit of salt. Rub at your hand and then put your hands on the gas stove. If there's any microbial infection, it will go off. Because salt is the best, and take saline gargles every day.
Yeah,
that's what I
his
did.
name said, yeah.
That's what I did when I was having COVID and never go anywhere. I said, oh, I am COVID positive. I take saline gargles 10 times a day. I drink saline water 15 times a day. Means I was in the restroom many times because I was just doing that, right? So that's what you have to do because you don't have to.
Right.
Yeah. If you are diabetic or you are old enough, you don't have immunity, it's a different ball game.
Right.
You have to.
But if you have natural immunity, again, this isn't a COVID conversation. I was just curious what your stance was. Like, would you have done it if you didn't have to?
All right, we got lots to talk
about. We have a page worth, which is more than a page's worth of information that we're all.
So we need to talk
about
what's happening in Jersey, right?
Yeah.
What's happening in our state? What's happening in our town?
Happening in our town.
I'll be honest. I don't even care about what's happening in Jersey as much as I care about what's happening like a few blocks away.
Yeah.
Is really what it comes down to.
In this town?
Yeah, in this
the
town.
next town where I live?
Yeah.
So
every town. It's going to hit every town.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm doing? I've been telling people all over the state, like, what's happening here. And they're like, oh, my God, that's terrible. I'm like, well,
it's coming.
It's coming.
It
sucks. Don't get me wrong, but it's coming.
coming.
Now, this is so multifaceted. So what we're talking about is the possibility. We're going to say possibility because we don't.
Nothing's set in stone.
Nothing is. We haven't seen it in writing, but the possibility of a large influx of illegal migrants that are going to be staying at
multiple,
or they were going to be housed at multiple hotels using taxpayer dollars to the tune of what I think you have heard as well, but I heard it was $800 to $1,000 a night per room.
Right. I have also heard from people. I don't want to name specifically.
Yeah,
no names.
We're not going to name names.
Yeah.
We've got confirmation from a lot of people. No names.
So I have a conversation with them for a couple of minutes. I will say almost 30 minutes. They said yes. There are some cases that people are put inside a hotel room for a couple of days, and then they said it was extended to 3 months. And now lately I heard maybe today morning that it has been extended to 1 year to 3 years depending on their age, their sex, their a lot of other factors. I'm not sure. That's
I'll be
what
honest,
I've
I don't
heard.
think that has anything to do with it. I think it's the fact that
What
the
does their
hotels
age
just
and
signed
sex
it.
have to do with
I think the
anything?
hotels just signed it. They just like,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll do it for 3 years. But again, in some part of me is you can't actually, like, they're just waving money at these people that own these hotels. Like, it's almost hard. Like, I'm not saying they should do it, but I'm saying there's an argument to be made that, you know, you're going to throw hundreds of millions of dollars at me. Like, yeah, I'll let them stay here.
Yeah, yeah, because we just heard of our areas or our neighborhood within a mile of 5 to 10 miles, but
Five, probably 3 to 5 miles.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's
3 to
not
5
far,
miles.
yeah.
But one sources also told me that it's across the whole Jersey because New York is filled up. They don't have any places there. And also some of the people protested in New York.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, let's move to Jersey, the tri-state, and they are also going to Connecticut.
Right.
So, God save
The
us.
sad part is it's all hearsay, which
This is-
well, it's not actually hearsay, but technically it's hearsay. And that's the sad part to me is like, why is it such a secret?
Right.
The closed door meetings.
Well, this is the thing. So it kind of makes sense because just recently, Governor Kathy Hochul, am I saying that right?
I think it's Hochul.
Hochul?
Okay. We understand what you're saying.
Who cares
Whatever.
anyway?
It's like I don't. Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
Blech. Cool.
Exactly. So she declared I can't stand her. She declared a state of emergency
Right.
with this whole migrant issue in New York. But also what's interesting is that Eric Adams has been changing his tune, quite a few times, going from we are the melting pot, we are going to take everybody in and show the world how it's done. Not too long after that, he's crying like, no, we can't house them, take them
Wow.
back. Then it got to a point that he started sending them to Canada. You're spending all this money and even an area, putting aside an area.
That's why
in
we have
Port
the Canadian
Authority.
fires because these people may have stayed and may have smoked there. Who knows, right?
Maybe.
Who knows? Because
a
these
connection.
people have crossed the
Yeah, it
these
could be a
people have
connection,
crossed the border and they may have smoked or had want to make a dinner or lunch and we suffer from the last
Yeah.
1 week.
Well,
right?
that's a whole nother
But
conversation
this
about
is
that, to be
the
honest.
thing. So they started to, fill up their hotels, the Roosevelt, and they're at capacity. They don't know what to do.
Well, they started moving
So-
them. They wanted to move them to. I mean, I don't think it was like anytime recent, but it was months ago. I think it was over the winter. They were moving them to. Gosh, what was it? Someplace in Brooklyn. It was someplace in Brooklyn. I think it
yes.
was like.
It was in upstate New York.
No. There was
First, they
definitely.
started from upstate New York, what I read in the news, and then they came down. They want to fill the 5 borders of the New York cities,
Yeah.
and there were protests from some of the Bangladeshi or Pakistani people that what this is going on, and then they said, okay, we. That's what I heard
Right,
from
but
my
I know
network.
I read an article just recently that it was an older article. Again, it was a couple months old, but it was they were sending them from the Roosevelt to an area in Brooklyn, like the cruise ship area. It was one of
Okay.
those like not a hangar, but like whatever it was down there. They had it set up for them, and they just refused to leave.
So
They said we're not going to leave because we don't like those conditions. And it's like, well, all right, well that's kind of crazy. But like,
we're seeing a lot of that.
but what I'm trying to get to with that is like, okay, you let them in.
But how you feed them?
But not even that. Not even that.
Not even
We're
that.
not even
It's
at to
like-
that point. So you let them in, and it's
They're
like, okay,
destroying
contracts
hotels.
up. Contracts up. Yeah, it's time to go. I'm not going to go. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
What are you going to do? You legally can't throw them on the street now.
right. Because
So-
you have
Stick them at
entertain-
JFK and private residences. That's what they're doing.
That's
you
what
know
they
that
wanna do,
are
private residence,
turning
yeah.
a portion of JFK Airport.
Oh my God!
Are you kidding me?
Well, JFK's a shithole.
Oh my
It
God!
doesn't matter. Why are we turning our airports into? Oh my gosh!
Wow.
How is that
The
happening?
most busiest
then
airport on the East Coast
Yeah.
after Atlanta.
How is that not a safety issue? Think of TSA. That's another thing. You're having not only people, coming from South America, you have terrorists from overseas, you have Chinese nationals who are trying to set up surveillance areas
Right.
on property
Right.
that they're buying close to military
areas. Yep.
This is wild. So you have all these people just coming in, running amok. We don't know who they are.
And then they are increasing the debt ceiling, the debt ceiling,
yeah.
the debt ceiling, right? Because they want to feed these people.
$1,000 a night.
Yeah, and they need trillions of dollars for that.
So real quick, we did the math, and it might be rudimentary, and you know. You're probably more of a mathematician than I am, to be honest. Because you talk about you don't have to be good in math, but just in the Rutherford hotels alone, we figured there was close to 300 rooms.
Okay.
And if it's $900 a night for what they said was 4 months, but we both heard that it's more like 3 years now. That comes out to $290 million.
See,
of already overtaxed payer dollars,
and that we are talking of one city.
That's only 2 hotels in Rutherford.
Yeah, only on one city, right?
Yeah,
and how many towns and cities we have in Jersey? Just do the. It's a simple calculation. Let's say they have only taken 10 hotels. 290 is almost 300.
Yeah.
Okay, because we have to feed them also, right?
Yeah, well, that's 300. That's 290 at $900 a night. Add another 100.
Let's say 300. 300 on a rough estimated scale.
Sure.
300. Let's take 10 hotels. It means 5 times, because these are 2 hotels. 5 times 3 into 5, $1.5 billion.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And already, if you see the budget of New Jersey deficient of, I think, $6 billion.
Well, I think that's what you're gonna. You were gonna ask something. Does that have anything to do with where's the money come from? Like, is it federal or is it state?
So that's another.
I mean, either way, it's coming from tax dollars. But like, is it
either
federal or state
way,
tax?
We pay to taxes to both of them.
Either way, it's coming from tax dollars.
Either way, it's taxpayer money. But we were trying to get a straight answer. Like, I think it is federally funded, but I'm not sure.
That's my thought. My thought is federal.
I'm pretty sure
gun to my head,
I
think federal.
Trying to
maybe
find.
They say, okay, we will fund only this for federal, and that's
but this
the
is
food or the shelter or something you have to give from state.
But let's really quick. We're yes, that's a lot of money for like the hotels and stuff, and it's crazy. By the way, we went to ask about the rates. It's like about $150.
It's like $150.
Yeah,
my question now to
but also. You guys are just calculating money with, the hotel stay.
Right.
Think about children and education.
Exactly.
That is going to eat the biggest portion. And for these, municipalities that are going to be taking, women and children in.
Exactly.
Think about it. You need translators. You need ESL teachers, teaching materials. I can go on and on and
on. We'll get back to that in 1 second. What do you want to say?
Oh, whatever. Yeah, what I want to say is, sorry.
I know, we're all getting like, there's just
what
so much.
What I want to say is, I have a question for the senators and assemblymen of this country, of this state. Where they are.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Where they are.
Yeah.
Came out of your silos and speak up. We have put you on the positions.
Yeah, that's right.
You own us a lot. A lot.
Bill Pascal's probably sleeping.
Where are they?
On a bet of money.
Yeah.
Where are they? Irrespective of their party, irrespective of their ideology.
This isn't a party thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. I agree.
Right. So this is. If you have taken the oath of your constitution, my only question to you, gentlemen and ladies, whoever are there, sitting in the Tarantan
or whatever they identify.
Yeah. Whatever they identify. Sorry. Okay. So
could be a Zer.
Yeah, it's bizarre these days. So whatever they are, where is your oath, and when you are going to fulfill that?
Their oath is sitting in a bank somewhere in like Sweden or Switzerland or something.
It's hurt us that why should we waste our time, and we think that we are in an illusion that these people will save us?
Well,
they don't care about anybody. Do you really think, just really quick, if you were just to take a step back, you really think that this is all because they care so much about migrants? You don't care about veterans. You don't care about homeless people.
No.
You don't care about those who are sick.
Money.
This isn't,
money and power. That's
you don't care about
money
that.
And power.
Or if you really cared about environmental issues, you'd clean up the Superfund sites. If you really cared about humanity, you'd help ensure, get people who are battling addiction, which, by the way, is the biggest crisis we're dealing with right now, is the opioid crisis. This is not because your politicians care about humanity and what these people are going through back at home. That's not about this.
Right.
This is a whole money-making scheme, and I really think it's to really tank our economy
Right.
and force us into what.
Yeah, and also, gentlemen, just
Communism?
Yeah.
socialism.
You could say it.
Yeah, seriously.
Socialism,
We're
communism.
we're beyond socialism.
They are pushing. They are. Yeah.
Capitalism
It's
is
getting-
already gone from this country.
Oh yeah, it was gone
Long back,
a long
20
time ago.
years
yeah.
back. Okay,
More than that.
Yeah. So capitalism is gone. Socialism is already there. Only the left in the which was left behind was communism, and
Yeah.
I think it's coming slowly and slowly.
Oh, no,
It's
you
coming a lot faster,
actually
yeah.
have people that are begging for communism. I'm like, are you serious?
Well, they're just
That's a
they're
whole
just
nother
idiots.
conversation.
That's all. Yeah, it's a different
That's
conversation.
whole nother conversation.
But let-
But Michael, we also have to ask the people who because we have the election in another couple of months, right?
Exactly.
The people who are fighting to get into Trenton, why? I even haven't heard from them. Are they still looking into it? I think they should look into it, and they should also raise their voices here.
Well,
you know?
I'm a firm believer in. Well, you know what? I'm not actually. I think this is kind of bad. What was it? Rahm Emanuel that said, "Don't let a good crisis go to waste." Right. This is not a good crisis. It's a crisis that, for some reason, a lot of the people that we're looking to for, I guess, help, really, like to be our voice, are just dead silent on it, and I don't understand why. But again, I think we're going to get to that in a little bit more. We can kind of hint on that. I just want to read off the consistent information that we've had.
Do you want to get into the well,
No,
it's
sure.
this specific area. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
This information is really just specific to the four
South Bergen
The
area.
four towns, yeah, the South Bergen area.
Yeah, so we've basically
which we could say. I
had
don't know.
confirmation, that basically the South Bergen County area, specifically at first we were hearing, East Rutherford, which is where I live, Lyndhurst, where Mike lives, and Carlstadt. Those were
Don't dox me.
So we were hearing, it was that these four towns that were in specific discussions right now to house migrants, but eventually it's going to be in hotels all throughout Bergen County.
That's what we think. And you meant to say Lindenhurst was where I live.
Linden. He lives in
No,
Linden.
I live in Lyndhurst. So I'm vested in this area.
But he's from Rutherford.
I am from Rutherford, born and raised in Rutherford, which is kind of why I'm a little bit more involved actually in Rutherford politics than I am in Lyndhurst politics. But with all that said, the consistent information that we have been getting, that we've all three of us have heard, and we can kind of chime in on, is this area. It's not the entire state. It's not New York City. It's literally the Southern Bergen area. We do know that there have been numerous closed session meetings between borough administrators, council members, mayors, people in charge. That we do know, and we're not sure why it's shrouded in secrecy.
Law enforcement.
We're still trying to figure out
responders.
what the benefit is to someone that would keep this a secret, possibly because it's an election year. Maybe, I don't know.
No, it's a simple mathematics again. I will say that phrase because federal is not telling anything. They don't have the numbers.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
That's not what I'm saying.
Let me tell you where I am coming from. If you go from top to bottom, federal is not saying how many people has come, illegal have come, so they are not giving the specific, and they have been instructed, I think, from the federal, you don't have to tell, and the Trenton has instructed every town over there, you don't have to tell.
So here's the thing. I'm going to
So
interrupt.
it's flowing
Hold on. This is the thing. If we believe that the federal government is saying you don't have to tell, they're not saying you don't tell. You should be telling us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I understand where you're coming from because you are born and raised here, and and it boils your blood that, oh my God, what is going on in my town?
But if the federal government is saying something to the local governments about what to say, I can pretty much say they're telling you not to say something. They're not saying
that's only my
"Don't say it if you don't
presumption.
want."
That's what I think.
Right, and it's a fair presumption, and I would think that is something that's happening. But the fact of the matter is, you're obligated to tell us, even if it's not true. You should come out and say that, hey, we're hearing this. It's not true, right? But you can't say that because it's fucking true.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
This is the thing. All right, just a little background. So with Rutherford and why, it's hush hush. It's because Rutherford has an issue with not being transparent, and I can, there's been multiple instances.
I thought it was a liberal issue.
That too. And we'll get to that in a bit.
Kidding, Liz.
But seriously, they have a longstanding history of not being transparent. So rather than trying to come out with a statement to try to, quell these so-called rumors, as this was actually called, people have said, oh, there was a post taken down because they claimed that it was a rumor. It's not a rumor. It's been confirmed. But, we know that there's been meetings. Whether
the info in the meetings is
Yes.
whatever it is, don't deny that there's been meetings.
And it's
not even any news agency, the local newspaper is saying anything. That's the main
No.
problem. No newspaper, nothing on the
we
social
can't trust
media.
the media. They don't.
No,
But again, that's obviously something that
newspaper
they're
are better
told.
than the big dogs in the media. Group,
I'm pretty
right?
sure the federal government, if they're telling people not to talk.
No, not even the social media. No, nobody is saying. Even I'm surprised the hoteliers are not saying.
We
okay.
are.
No. The people like hoteliers, the people who run the hotels, the managers of the hotel.
I'll be honest. I don't even think they know.
Yeah.
Because I've been to three of them.
But let
Two
me
of
tell you,
Two of them.
if I'm a hotel manager, I see the whole influx of the Hispanic people in my hotel. Doesn't it raise
But
an alarm?
what I'm saying is
It's simple.
What I'm saying is I've went and spoke to a couple of managers in person. I stopped at 2 hotels in person.
Mm-hmm.
I called 2 hotels, and I talked to. Well, one of them I got forwarded a bunch of times, but I ended up talking to a couple of people there, and they told me that they have no idea. Be like, oh, this is news to us. We don't know anything about this. Now, whether they're telling the truth or not, I don't know. But I would actually lean towards they probably don't know, and they're probably not gonna know because disregard your politics. Who wants to be involved in that? Because they know that the Roosevelt has been destroyed. They're calling the cops constantly at the Roosevelt.
Yeah, they don't want this to
Yeah,
get
they don't
out.
want this, and they're like,
is-
who wants to work in what could potentially be like a war zone? Nobody wants to work there. That's not something that people want to do. But I want to keep on moving along a little bit and get down these things. So that's the first thing is why the secrecy. We're not 100% sure why. I'm sure you could debate it constantly. We do know that none of these people are vetted. They're all unvetted migrants. We have no idea where they're from, what their background is. Are they criminals? Are they cartel members? You don't know.
No.
Are they pedophiles? Not sure. We've heard that the cost of living, which we talked about, was figured to be $800 to $1,000 a night per room. I already talked about the Roosevelt, to be honest, and we talked about the 4 areas in the 4 hotels in the area. The other thing that we're a little conflicted on, I would say, Jasmine and I don't know if you heard it, whatever, but I've heard multiple times that there are no women and there are no children involved in these migrations.
I have no idea. When I spoke with somebody, they said that we have heard only of the illegal immigrants, and to be honest, our conversation didn't go up to sex, whether they are women or they are men or they are children.
I think it's important. I think the sex of it is very important. I think the sex of the people are very important because if it is people that are just trying to escape persecution and the politics of their country and seeking refuge somewhere else and asylum, I would imagine it's women and children involved. Mostly, I would imagine mostly.
Well, it's a very important question because now this is where it's going to absolutely crush and decimate our infrastructure.
If there is women and children.
If there's women and children. Okay,
right.
So, all right, let's just...
Well, in both ways, really.
Where hypothetically speaking, you're going to house
Different.
these individuals for 4 months, right? What happens when that 4 months expires?
3 years. Just say 3 years because that's
3
what
years. Okay. So, but what happens when that time expires? What's the plan for permanent housing? Are they going to qualify for affordable housing? There's so many redevelopments going on right, at the moment in this area. Redevelopment is taking over the entire state. Now you have children involved. Are they going to be in our school system? If so, what are you going to do after the 4 months or the 3 years? You going to uproot them? I mean, you're
that was the point I was making earlier with the Roosevelt. Just not going to leave.
But this is the thing. Now the resources that come into play with not only housing but education, healthcare, and everything else.
Healthcare, yeah, because they will be taking a lot of healthcare resources from us, right?
Yeah, but this is and if these are individuals that have a criminal background, we're going to have to hire more first responders. Our infrastructure cannot handle this. We can't even handle what we have at the moment. So how are we going to take on all these individuals, which we don't know anything about?
Yeah.
Did you a couple of weeks back? I read an article that a simple tablet like Tylenol is off the market.
Oh.
Yeah, the
Why?
pharmacists were facing a lot of issues, and I think
there's a drug shortage right now.
Drug shortage. I think this is the reason, because these are a huge influx. So if they are sick, they have to be given their medicine, and where this medicine are going to
I mean, this is like a tinfoil hat.
Really quick, because I looked into that because somebody had made a mention. Somebody had a heart condition, and they made a mention that the
baby
medication.
aspirin?
What?
No, I'm sorry. Guys usually take baby aspirin.
No. Somebody had a heart condition, was taking medication, or maybe for their high blood pressure, was something along those lines, and they needed this medication, and there is a nationwide drug shortage on not just aspirin, but everything. And we're talking about prescription pills.
I didn't hear anything about this.
Look into it. Prescription pills. So you have people that need their, Xanax, their Adderall, their, blood pressure meds, or what? There's cancer. Cancer medication there's a shortage.
Yes.
Massive shortage.
Yes.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I'm always digging into, the cancer.
Why didn't I heard nothing about this.
Yeah, there's a huge drug shortage, and I also heard that they have now signed a pact with India. That if you fill our drug shortage, because India is the pharmacy of the world, right?
Yeah.
So fill our drug shortage as soon as possible.
Really?
Yeah. That's
bizarre.
I can send you that article if I get it. You should read it. It is not too far, maybe 2 or 3 weeks back. And at that time I was not.
So wait a minute, is there going to be any kind of? I know there's restrictions now that were put on the cost of medications. Is that going to be lifted if we're importing all our medications?
I have no idea. I didn't go into the.
I always see everything as a money grab, to be honest. Like
It
everything.
is.
So like.
You're telling me big pharma can't fill this? This is like crazy. It's very interesting, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole for a whole other day.
That's a different show. That's a different show.
And very soon we will be off the food. We don't have the food because we have to feed them.
Yeah, we have no food, no medication,
no clean water.
And this will become a fourth country. We call it the third.
I honestly think this is by design. They're trying to destroy everything to push us into that status.
Fourth world country.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say. You didn't say it. I thought you were going to say 15-minute cities. That's what they're pushing for.
What is 15-minute cities?
15-minute cities. Have you never heard of 15-minute cities?
No.
Good. Now I don't feel as bad not hearing about that drug thing.
So 15-minute cities. People tend to think they're a good thing. They're basically the transit villages that are coming up. So smart.
It's a large prison.
So basically.
Ultimately.
All right.
Ultimately.
Okay.
So basically, it's everything that you would ever need would be within 15 minutes from where you live.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so they're pushing this, but this is the thing with the 15-minute cities. So they're also called smart cities.
Right.
And so with smart cities, it's actually it's terrible.
It's like a prison. You need permission to leave your sector of the city to go somewhere else,
so
even in the city.
So it means it's a same like communism, right? You can't go outside. Like
that's what it is. Well, they're doing it in where did they do it?
They just started. They just started, but let's not get
it Germany?
Yeah.
No, it was I think
Spain or something.
No,
it was in Europe somewhere, but I know they have Cleveland is slotted to be a 15-minute city.
They were trying to push that in East Palestine too. That's a whole nother.
It's a whole nother thing. Yeah, right. We're all subject, but
you're right. Off.
You're right. So let's get back. Okay. Anyway, so
Rutherford, go down your statistics or whatever you wanted to.
Well, it is kind of tied into like the immigrants or the illegal immigrants. It's because it all comes down to resources. Is what we were talking about.
It makes me wonder if
Right.
all the redevelopment taking place in the area was for
them?
those losing their homes and for future
Well-
populations. That's another thing. I told you. I read the Rutherford Master Plan. There is no cap with redevelopment. So that was
Right.
one thing that I brought up. When I was running for council, I said, this is something that we should be concerned about. There's not a quota that we have to make and then we're good. So everybody's up in arms about preserving Rutherford and, limiting the redevelopment, but there's nothing here to protect us. We can build all these, new redevelopments, but at the end of the day, it's not going to do it. Like there's nothing that's going to say that, okay, you fulfilled your, affordable housing unit. No, it's crazy. What it says in the Rutherford Master Plan is that, that one of the challenges is that we only have, I think it was like 1%, of available land to build on. So the challenge was finding, areas in need of redevelopment to.
Really? Is that true?
Yes.
Well, there's only 1% of buildable land in Rutherford.
It was something like that. Yeah.
Is that when you were running?
Yeah. That I don't know if they updated the master plan or whatever.
What
So one of
percentage
the-
is that warehouse that they just built? Oh, that 1%.
So that is in the Meadowlands. We don't get jurisdiction. We don't have any jurisdiction in anything in the Meadowlands. You know who controls that. So 33% of Rutherford lies within the Meadowlands.
Yeah.
We do not have any jurisdiction. It's NJSEA, which merged with the Meadowlands Commission. But you know who wears the pants in that relationship? NJSEA. And
Right.
that happened under Chris Christie. You know what Chris Christie also did? A lot of the Meadowlands
Ate a dozen donuts in one sitting.
is severely contaminated. Berries Creek, the most
yeah, it's
contaminated
disgusting, yeah.
creek in the whole entire country, he took away oversight from the EPA and the DEP. So now third parties can come and remediate.
Yeah. Don't
And
mind about
and guess who extended that? Murphy. But that's it's wild. But anyways, back to redevelopment. It makes me wonder, like all these, redevelopments that are taking place in the affordable housing, are they going to be jumping in and cutting the line? You know how many people are waiting in this lottery pool to get these units for affordable housing?
Yeah.
I've talked to several people in Rutherford alone who are elderly, lived their whole entire life in Rutherford, cannot afford to live in Rutherford anymore, and are hoping and praying to get a affordable, housing unit. And it's all by lottery.
Really?
It's terrible. Yeah.
That's nuts.
You put your you give them your information. Yeah, it's a pool.
Wow.
And just think if they're
Can
only
you,
the men.
Mike Cheka, can you hear me?
I could hear you,
Okay.
yeah.
So we were discussing on only the men who will be coming here, right?
Yeah.
There are no women.
Right.
Just think the crime they will bring with them, because if they are here for themselves for 3 years,
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to put
So-
up the words, right?
That's a double-edged sword. There's really no right answer.
So-
There's not one better scenario than the other. Like, you'd rather have women and children, but now all of a sudden your schools are going to be they're going to blow up. You're not going to be able to handle all
like
the
in
influx
UK
of
we
kids.
have the grooming gangs, right? Maybe in America we also have the grooming gangs then.
What?
Oh, like that's the child gangs.
No, grooming gangs. They
Oh.
are the gangs
What?
in especially of the Pakistani region men. They target the English women and they rape them. And they leave
What's
them
going on with
alone
this?
afterwards. So that's what the grooming
that
gangs
way.
they have.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's the grooming gangs they have, and the same condition in Germany and France. You have heard France this time didn't celebrate the Christmas because of those grooming gangs.
Yeah.
So that is not far off when we will also say, oh, we have the grooming gang, but they are not the Pakistani origin guys, but they are for the.
It's crazy because we watch it. We all watch the same movie all over the world, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's like, oh, let's just try it here. It'll be different.
Yeah.
It's not. Let's get back to the illegal migrants that are going to be bleeding us dry here. So I probably posted this somewhere all over Facebook, and I'm sure you both read it, obviously. But in a nutshell, they are unvetted, no idea where they are, where they come from, what their background is, if they're criminals, if they're not criminals. We don't know if there's women and children involved. We don't know anything. Why not? It's so
I think it should
mind-boggling
come
to
from
me.
the mayor and the council member, not from the governor, because he is the one whom the city people.
There's one problem with
Right?
that. There's one problem with that. I think you're right. I think it should come from the mayor and council. But the fact of the matter is, I don't even think they know.
How it is possible?
It may be hearsay. Just that they may know that we have.
Because-
they know that someone's coming. They may not know.
How
They may
many?
not know all this information. And I'll tell you what, they're probably tight-lipped because the fact that they don't know any of this, it doesn't bode well for them, especially in the coming election.
I completely disagree with you. They should be.
I'm saying maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, they should be having a meeting with the police chief because the.
Oh, they are.
Oh, they are. These meetings are
should be
happening.
having the
They're
meeting.
meeting with a lot of people.
Yeah.
They should be having the meeting with the civil surgeon because they know the influx in the hospital may increase. They should have a meeting with the fire department that okay.
Yeah, but you're
They should be
the
telling.
meetings are happening.
Yeah,
they
the
do
meetings are
have the
happening.
meetings.
They-
They're-
they
So
are.
if they have the meeting, they should have the number. Hey, boss, 100 people are coming in this city. So if you see, the doctor sees every day 5 patients. Now, if you see 7 or 10, don't
Yeah.
get.
No, you're right.
You know,
You're right.
They
But
should have. I am not saying the exact number, approximate number.
I've heard.
There's two different
I've
things.
heard some numbers.
yeah, we have heard some numbers.
Okay.
What numbers have you heard? I've heard 700.
I
in
heard
Rutherford.
700
Okay.
in Rutherford alone.
Okay.
Just Rutherford.
I was like 700.
But to your point, I'm not saying they should know, right? And they should be having these meetings, and they are having these meetings. But I don't know if they actually know, because it could be, well, I've heard this, or I've heard it's this, and I've heard it's this, and that's why I wrote down consistent and inconsistent information, is because nobody knows for sure. Because I'm sure, well, maybe they do. I don't know.
The general
Maybe they do
public,
know.
I
The
can
general
say-
public doesn't know.
Yeah, but I think the people in the positions must know it.
Well, how about this? How about where are they coming from? They're coming from New York City,
Right.
right? So where they're coming from in New York City should be able to tell you.
we don't even know that for sure if they're coming from New York.
I've heard that a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that a few
I
times.
mean, it's highly believable.
I also
like,
believe that from Delaware it
influx
came.
is going to spill
That'd
here.
be Southern, but at the same time,
And from Delaware, the bus is coming
but-
to the New Jersey
but what I'm
because
sa-
it's just a bridge. They have to cross the Jersey.
right? But what I'm saying is, it's not hard to find out the information of how many and if they're women and children, if they're only men,
Just
considering
go to
they're
the hotel. Just go to the hotel and see, hey boss, how many you have? Oh, I have 15.
Hold on,
Oh,
what hotel are you talking about?
The hotel where they have put up, right?
No, they're not put up
They're
yet.
not
They're not
yet.
there yet. Is the
Not
thing.
there yet.
So my point
This
is,
is
you could
just in
find
discussion.
out. First off, it starts. All right, so it starts. Why are these meetings secret? Why is it a secret to the public that this is even happening? Right. That's one. That is the most important information. We're not sure why it's secret. Whether or not they know all this information, I don't know. But I could say it can't be hard to find out. Go to the Roosevelt and be like, how many women, how many children, how many men? Okay, we have 700 men. All right, that's probably 700 men coming here.
We're going to know that number. I mean, there's so
They know
many-
the number. Of course they know the number.
Yeah,
know.
but I'm saying
Yes.
that through
You're
multiple
right.
Yeah.
through multiple hotels, and then who knows where else they're. I mean,
No, Jess, it's a simple. Like if they are booking the hotel, let's say they have booked 5 hotels, they should have a little idea. We have 10 rooms.
You keep on saying should. You're right. They should, but they don't
See,
necessarily. Doesn't
10
mean it's
rooms
true.
are in this hotel, and we are putting 3 people per room. So 30 people in one
Oh,
hotel.
that's the other thing. That's the other thing.
Right.
If you think
If-
about
if-
it, like
if-
there's
if-
not just one person per room.
Unless you don't know if let's say
700 might be low.
I'm assigned this task. I'm just giving a scenario. I'm assigned this task. You said, Ankush, we have 200 people coming to your place.
Right.
Okay, 200 people. I have only 4 hotels, and I called every hotel. I say, how many are the rooms? They said, oh, we have 10, 5, 10, 5. Okay,
Right.
I get approximately 30 rooms. I'm just so I will say, okay, 30 rooms. I have 200 people. I can't put 7 people in one room, right?
Why not? They're not supposed to take criminal. Like
No,
you're coming up with these numbers and rules based inside rules. Like they're
Right.
not following
So
rules.
unless you don't have the
Why
number,
wouldn't they put 7 in one room?
my point is, unless you don't have the number, how you are going to put going to put the hotel? Or you are just going crazy? Okay, put block all the hotels.
No.
How many will come? We will see later.
No, they cancel reservations and clear out the hotels. That's what happened in the city. That's what happened in the city. They canceled reservations. People's reservations had gotten canceled. But my point is, if the Roosevelt is sending people over here, how hard is it to say what kind of demographic do you have staying there that are illegal immigrants? It's easy. It's simple.
Yeah. So one thing more, the Constitution gives us the right to information, right?
I would imagine. Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
Which amendment is that in which you can get 14th?
I think it's 14th.
Yeah.
If I had to, I was going to say 14th, but I'm not
sure. There is one amendment which gives you the right to information. So we can use that amendment and say, boss, give me the number how many illegal immigrants are here. I don't want to know the number of the
again. We're looking at this by someone that's trying to play by the rules. There's no rules in this whole situation.
No rules. There's no rules. There's no plan.
You know, like, oh, we should have the right to do that. You do have the right to do that, but we're not going to tell you anyway. So I don't know if they actually know all the information when it comes down to like the mayor and councils. I don't know.
They should
tell us.
Exactly.
They should tell us. Hey, we don't know.
I can't digest this. I'm very honest. If I go to my mayor and I say, hey mayor, I need this information, he say I didn't have it, I will take it with a pinch of salt.
Well, there is a mayor and council meeting coming up, and I would hope that many would come and ask questions. That should be an interesting meeting.
I plan on going to all the meetings. I don't know if I'm going to ask any questions, but I'm going to go to all the meetings.
No, absolutely. Any question you ask becomes public record, and that's why you get up there and you ask.
You have a much better speaking voice.
Now, listen, it's usually they don't answer, and that's very tough.
No, they never answer. They're not going to answer there. They're going to be like, oh, we're going to confer about it, and then we'll get back to you in the next meeting, which is in a couple weeks.
But this is the thing. So, all right, we're talking about, why is it so secret? Going to the meetings and asking questions, but I think it's also important to highlight the mentality of a large demographic in Rutherford.
Exactly.
So with that being said, we have a lot of people that are looking at this. And recently I was reading on a Rutherford Facebook group. First of all, it was a post about a panhandler that garnered, I think we're up to 160 comments right now about one panhandler.
It was 160, earlier. 156 last I checked. Earlier
whatever, 160.
Yeah,
160
right.
Comments about one panhandler. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's a little wild. But halfway through this thread of comments, then somebody mentioned the migrants, and then that started a little bit of a conversation. Now, what was, the woman who commented about was very upset. The response from, some people were... someone was that, my grandparents are immigrants. My parents are immigrants. Where did you come from? Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I think we all have, some
this country is made of immigrants,
exactly.
Right. The base of this country is immigrants, but legal.
But this is the thing.
Yeah, yes. You forgot to put the word legal.
Right. She's talking about how her grandparents came over on a boat, did the whole Ellis Island thing. Yes, they came over legally. They were checked for ticks, lice. They had all this information compiled.
Yeah, chicken pox. A lot of things at that time they were checked.
Nobody that's coming over here now is getting any of that.
No.
Hell, they're not even getting tested for COVID.
Yeah.
So this is the thing.
And we can't go outside our houses at that moment, right?
This is the thing. This is my point is, people are very unaware of the ramifications and how this is going to impinge on their life and how this is going to affect the residents. To them, they are looking at this like, oh, there's so many people coming here that are trying to escape poverty. That is true. But with that, we are getting all these other things, and they are not.
Those are the crazy people that talk like that. Because a lot of the people that they were on the same side with are not for this. So there's a few.
No, I'm not saying everybody in Rutherford is like that, but for the most part, you have a lot of the loudmouths in town that are absolutely clueless. Yeah. Clueless. You call yourself a feminist? Well, then you do realize that we are now aiding and abetting in human trafficking.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, I can go on and on. Like I said, I've been to the border a couple times. I've spoken and interviewed many. It is wild. Now, this is the thing. I really think the mayor and council should, address this with a public statement as well as, what they plan.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Yeah, you're 100% right. It's just
We don't have the
That's what
resources.
the mayor's roles and
But
responsibility
we don't have the
right?
resources.
it's supposed to be. Yeah.
We don't have the resources for this.
No, we
really don't.
We
and
don't
at
have the
what
resources
point?
for
And
this.
at what point is it going to stop?
Has-
Just like the
hasn't-
redevelopment. At what point?
hasn't the police force? I would say I don't know about Lyndhurst or anything like that, but I would say Rutherford's police force, haven't they been like shorthanded for years now?
I think the police force will not be happy with that.
They're not.
No, they're not. They're
everybody
not.
else
Because
Understand that.
already
is not.
a lot of prisoners, it's an open secret, has been asked to go out.
Yeah.
After, they have been put out of the jails, and the crime is increasing day by day in our
That's
city.
listen, that's also an interesting point. You know, if the crime rates go up and prisons
growing
and this and
up.
that.
It's
well,
growing
we
up.
also closed some prisons, number one. Number two, now what goes on with bail reform and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
no shit.
Yeah, exactly. We're seeing crime go up across the nation. It is wild right now. And really quick, California just passed a bill saying that it is illegal
yeah, you can't stop
for
shoplifting.
employees to confront a shoplifter.
Yeah.
It is illegal.
imagine?
So you would.
It doesn't make sense
This
to
is
anyone.
all by design.
It's all by
This is
design.
all by
I agree
design.
with that.
When
I
you have
agree
a
with
lot
that.
of illegal immigrants, which they are looking at the voter level in the next 5 years or 6 years,
Oh, they're looking votes.
yeah, they're looking
Yeah.
for the votes.
Oh, that's one of the first things that they do is try to register them to vote.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
with the licenses, they start like, are you registered to vote?
So even as per the American law, after you get a green card, you have to wait 5 years to become a citizen. Can you imagine that? And these people are coming across the border, and within 6 months, they have the right to vote.
Yeah.
They don't know anything about this country. They haven't paid a dime in taxes.
That's a very good point.
That's what.
That is a very
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
that's
don't know
what
anything
it
about it.
boils me. They don't know anything. Whether this councilman or this mayor or this congressman or this senator is good for me or not, they don't know anything.
I mean, how do they know they don't hate this country?
And leave that part. And even because they don't know the language barrier, right?
Yeah.
And then we say, okay, the election has been. What I can say now, what happened in 2020, right? If you have seen the 2000 news,
Stolen?
yeah,
Yeah.
right?
It definitely was fraudulent.
Yeah, so these are the things, and these are the things are
This
being
is-
promoted. And then this country comes,
Yes,
we are
they
the biggest
pushing
democracy.
to sign people up to vote, and I agree with you. There should be there should be a grace period. All right, listen, you don't know anything about
At
our
least
politics.
5 years, like a normal
Absolutely,
person.
I
Yeah.
agree with that. For
5
somebody
years.
who has
Let
to
pay
pay
something back to this country, and then the country will give it back to
Listen,
you,
if
right?
you're not
But,
paying taxes, then
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
But again,
See what Kennedy said.
There's-
What you have done for your country, tell me this.
but again,
don't ask what country has
we're
done for
talking about adhering to rules that they just don't care about. And I'm not talking about the immigrant.
No.
I'm not talking about the illegal immigrants. I'm talking about like
There
the
are
politicians.
people in-
that
rules.
care
people
about
in
it.
There are
the-
no rules
people in
right
the
now.
position
There's
for
no
them.
rules.
So-
There's no rules.
This has
The
become a
government-
banana state. It seems to me like sometimes. I will be
A
honest.
banana
here.
republic. I agree
Yeah,
with you.
it
So
has become a
there
banana
are no
republic.
rules.
What-
It's to destroy the economy in the country.
So
Yeah.
this is an analytical show as we are analyzing this crap. Something struck me the other day, thinking about it. I'm not sure. I think I mentioned it to you, as a matter of fact. But there seems to be like a happy feeling that goes for like the Republican side of people that are happy that like these red states like Texas and Arizona, or not Arizona necessarily, but like
Florida.
Texas and Florida are sending the illegal migrants to blue states.
Yeah,
right.
buses
And
fill
everyone's like, rah rah, that's great, congratulations.
But
Finally,
Mike-
hold on a second.
Uh-huh.
So finally, like they're getting what they ask for. I just don't understand. Like, I think part of I'm gonna refer to it as the left is after is getting as many illegal migrants spread throughout the country as they can. And I just feel like some of these red states are just aiding in it. They're doing it.
No, you know what I understand is, let's say Florida sent to New Jersey and New York. I'm giving a scenario, right?
Well, that's what's happening. But go ahead.
yeah. They send over here. After 5 years, they become legal.
Okay.
They went back to Florida. Can Florida make a distinction that they were illegal immigrants?
Oh,
And then
no.
they can change the demography over
Yeah,
there.
but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, well, one,
Instead
I
of
don't
sending
trust.
to the blue states, they should be sent out of the borders.
Yes, but that's probably the
They
most
should be
ideal situation.
in the
but
boats or where?
hold on.
And
But
let
what
them
I'm
go.
saying is, I don't. Well, first off, I mean, I don't keep it a secret. I don't trust DeSantis at all. To be honest, I don't like him that much. And I'm not a big fan of Abbott of Texas.
Yeah.
It's something just off
I
about him.
think
I don't
Alan
know.
West should have.
Yeah, Alan West, I love that guy. But so those two guys, and they're sending these people all over. I just feel like there is a more nefarious plot than, well, we're going to make you guys eat your own words and take all these illegal migrants. Like, I don't think so. I think you're just spreading them out.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're just doing the dirty work.
Yeah,
I think they're
spreading
all
the
part of
virus
the
all
same
over
team.
instead of putting it in one
If you're
place.
gonna if you're gonna, what you would really do to help the situation is not spread them out so they can just go willy nilly all over the place. But what you should do is either like round them up in your state and hold them, or like you said,
Push
ship
them
them over
out.
the border. But they're
them
not
out.
allowed to ship them over the border because the federal government gets in the middle. So what you should do is, we're gonna hold you right here. You're not going anywhere.
We're the Department of Justice, and if the federal government gets in your way, you can go to the court and say this is wrong.
You keep on again. You're missing the point. With that doesn't work. There's no rules. The rules
There are
the
no
rules
rules.
aren't for them. It's only for it's only to keep
No.
other people in check. It's not for them. They can openly break them, and that's
We're seeing
ultimately what
that
happens.
across the board.
Yeah.
We can go back and forth, but there is no rule. Look at what's taking place in the world. People just need to wake up and realize this is not about caring about humanity.
Yeah.
If that was the case, we would have no homelessness. If that was the case, we would really, come on.
Right.
Really?
Right.
If that was the case, we would be
We would give the guy on Park Avenue change.
We
Yeah.
would be
Yes.
actively helping those who are battling addiction, which is one of the biggest things that we are going through right now.
It is.
So if that was the case, your government would be working with Big Pharma or against Big Pharma to stop pumping drugs out. Did you just hear about the Sackler thing? Just really quick. They granted them immunity.
Who?
The Sackler family. The Sackler family is the one who pumped out Oxycontins and flooded the country and kicked off this opioid epidemic. Oh, yes. And the government just gave them immunity that nobody could sue them. You started this mess, and now you just gave them immunity. Therefore, my point in case is that the government does not care. And this is not an act to help out these individuals that are coming from, a lot of them are coming from these horrific situations, these horrible, poverty and everything else. But they're not looking to do that. They're not looking to help them. This is obvious. This is very obvious.
No, Jess, I disagree you on one point. You said poverty. Mexico, if you say Mexico, is come under G20 countries. How is poverty there? No.
I didn't say all. I said a lot of them are coming from areas of poverty. Now, this is another thing. Yeah, a lot of areas of Mexico are
Flourishing,
yes,
right? Flourishing,
absolutely.
right?
But this is another thing with Mexico. Mexico is now being run by cartels.
Yeah, you have to work with the cartel.
Yeah, and no, they basically control everything. And one of the most dangerous cities in the whole entire world. The most dangerous is Juarez, which borders El Paso, and it's also called the City of Dead Women. You want to know why? Because there's two cartels there warring with each other right now. And you know how they mark their territory? Once they're done raping the women and the women cannot bring them any more money. I've seen the rape houses myself.
Oh my God.
Me, Darius, we saw it ourselves. They pointed it out. So what they do is when the women can
And you
no
hear the
longer,
screams, right?
Oh yeah, there's actual speakers on the outside with all this what do you call that, the barbed wire, they're rape houses. They bring in
So it's
a bunch
the
of
same
women.
like what we heard in Afghanistan or we heard
Yes,
in
listen to me.
ICC,
There was the
yes.
Mexican military right there. They had a checkpoint. So I asked Border Patrol, who is showing us everything. I said, "Well, there's the military. What do?" He's like, "They go in too."
Oh my God.
Yes, that is how corrupt. The cartels have paid off everybody from politicians to law enforcement, and this is what is going on in Juarez. And you know what's horrible is that our Border Patrol agents are sitting there in their car watching the women shackled like cattle go into this cement building, which, by the way, it's a shanty town. Okay, you're seeing cardboard houses, basically structures made out of, scrap stuff, and all of a sudden you see a cement fortress with 3-4 levels, barbed wire,
And the top is a
speakers
door,
outside.
right? Isn't the top a door?
Yes, I'm going to get to that. Then you see speakers fixed on all 4 corners of the house.
Wow.
Like, why are there speakers out
Oh
there?
my God.
Oh, you want to know why? Because when they're raping the women at 2:00 in the morning, it echoes through the desert, so they blast the music. And so
Oh
then I
my
noticed
God.
on the one building, all of a sudden, there was a door all the way up top, and I said, "Why is there a door there?" Because there's
let's-
nothing. There's no. Whoops! There's no deck, or I keep
See.
doing it. Wait, hold on.
Hold on, let her finish. Let her finish.
Because when you get loose from being tied up, what do? You run and go through doors. Those women and the Border Patrol agent who we were with said they've seen women screaming, running through that door to their death. Now that is happening right on the border of El Paso. Okay. And those are the people that are basically bringing people in and enslaving individuals. How long till they do that with this entire country if we're spreading them out, like you said?
Oh, we are.
How long?
Yeah. Well, that's a growing theory. Is that part of the?
It didn't take long
Just
to
the
take over
cartels, yeah.
Mexico.
Just think, if these are in their genes, they want to repeat the same in America.
Well, yeah. That's kind of that's what I said. Like,
Because you can't change the genes of a person, right?
no. I don't know. No, you can't.
Yeah.
But the fact that I don't know a lot about the cartels, but I do know from what I have read and listened to about them is that they have, or one of the warring factions of the cartels has a goal of spreading out within
Yeah.
America. It kind of growing
I mean,
roots
think
here.
about it. Our government is helping them. The banks
Oh,
have
yeah,
helped them.
yeah, right.
Trust me. They are good businessmen, and they have our politicians in their pocket.
And again-
so does China.
I think it's prudent for our officials, local officials, to vet the people that they probably can't stop from coming.
Yeah. But
At least vet them. At least find out who they are. Let's make sure that we're actually only going to house the people that are in need and escaping.
Can we
as they
also
say,
talk
poverty.
about one more thing that we
one
didn't?
question here
Go
to you,
ahead.
Jess, especially, and to you, Mike. We have heard from the last 2 years such type of tsunami of these, all those bad things. When it was Obama or when it was Trump administration, I didn't heard much of this. Well, instead in the Trump administration, I heard it's going down.
Right,
day by
Trump
day,
went down, right,
Right.
Yeah.
But since Biden,
Significantly down.
yeah. Since Biden has come, this has multi-million, I will say. Multi-fold is a very small word, right?
Mhm.
It has grown to multi-million. So, how long this cartel is there with America? Do you have any history of it? Like
What
it
are
started
you-
in
No.
80s or 90s or
The
2000?
cartels?
Mhm.
Where you're talking about in Mexico?
Yeah, when all this influx started, because I am hearing this from the last 2 years. Do you have
No, the
So-
cartels have had a strong. So cartels at first they were mainly with drug trafficking.
Yeah,
that was their.
that I
You're
heard.
talking about in Mexico?
Here that this.
Oh no, this has been it's been here for quite some time.
The thing is
like the banks being hand.
That was in I want to say 2010. I want to say in
I don't know that.
2010, 2012. I'm pretty sure, and it was like 5 major banks.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I've heard of
Like
it.
I
I don't
think
know
I
anything
think
about
Wachovia
It
was
means-
one of them. I
it
think
means it started when the Obama administration was there, right?
Probably.
yeah, it's funny because
That would make sense.
with the Obama administration, he did mention that he was going to close our borders, and they.
But it
like-
never happened.
No.
No.
no, he made a mention of that. He made a mention. He said,
No, I'm not.
protecting.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
was
know.
gonna say-
No, I'm not saying he didn't say it. I'm saying they just didn't do it.
No. But what's even crazier is that if you go on the Department of Homeland Security website, you see Obama, walking with I can't remember his name right right now, but you see the cages and you see children in
Oh,
the
yeah,
cages.
yeah, right.
You see it's on the right now on a government website. So everyone is saying that the cages started with Trump. No, they did not. The cages.
No.
They were Obama's cages.
Yeah, they were Obama's cages.
Yeah.
But they were also cages that the Clintons were talking about building. Now, really quick, and I just want to bring this in because it's an absolute atrocity. And so the children, okay? So there is a loophole, and I learned this when I was down at the border. There is a loophole that unless a child is traveling with their birth parents or legal guardian, okay, so they can be with grandma, aunt, uncle, doesn't matter. They get removed and they are given to, one of those third-party NGOs, like Catholic Charities.
Yeah.
And then they are placed with a, family. So now what's becoming to be a trend is a lot of the families that who haven't been vetted really are now in trouble for sexually assaulting these children. Now, so many children have been pulled from their, from their families and placed with these, NGOs, which I actually have footage at the airport too. Sketchy looking.
Whatever footage you want to give me, we'll put up.
It will include
really quick.
Hold on, let her finish.
Really quick. So, another thing is that this administration has lost count of over a third of the children that they took from their families. So over a third of these kids, you place them with strangers that are, in a lot of cases, sexually abusing
They're
these
all
children.
pedophiles, man.
Yeah, abusing these children. But you lost them.
Yeah.
And nobody is talking about that. Nobody is talking about that. And there's also a seedy part of this, is that you do have some children that are being brought over by criminals whose intent is to sell the children when they get here. So I also have a footage of...
they don't need to prove that they're legal guardians. They just have to say that I'm this kid's father or something?
No. They have to... They have to prove it.
Birth certificate or something, I think.
They have to prove it.
Oh, okay.
So listen. So they were trafficking a baby, and this guy basically caught the same baby trying to be brought over multiple times. Yeah.
Really? So how would they do with
So
the
do you
baby when
remember
they
for
caught
a
him?
while? Do you remember for a while this administration was like, they were sending him to family members that were here. So
Yeah.
So if a child came over with like a little piece of paper that said, John Doe over in Rutherford,
Right.
we'll send him over.
Yeah, but like what? So what? I don't. If they were doing.
They were trying to sell.
I'm trying to understand. Yeah, but I'm trying to understand if it was the same baby, what they do with the first baby.
I don't know.
They sent it back or something.
I'll let you hear. It was like, this guy he was in the military. He's he's older now, but he works with.
Crazy.
He helps the law enforcement there, which a lot of our veterans do, because there's a lot of gaps in the wall, which you'll see in the footage I show you.
Sure.
You'll see the wall, and all of a sudden there's like a huge, massive gap, and they sit there. And so we were able to tour this private property. It was like, I think, over 500 acres. It used to be an old rock quarry. So, and we were there. The one guy took me and Priscilla out just to show us some areas of the property. Everybody else, had went back to the room. And sure enough, we saw them climbing up. And I was like,
God.
and it was just us three. And I was like, I think
That's
it's time
scary.
for us.
Get out of here.
It is. And want to know how we caught them? Because they were walking and one of them kicked a rock and the rock started, because, it's like a very steep cliff. I look up and I saw a couple, a couple of guys just like kind of moved to the side. And it was just us three. I was like, listen, it's time to leave now. So on the other side of the property was where the gap was. And so, a lot of these veterans would basically sit there and guard the gap. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And they would allow a lot of the, law enforcement in the area to use their private property to.
Yeah, we'll put this footage up if you want to share it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I have
I
so
have
much
one
footage.
question for you. I will just take
go ahead.
be quick with that. So do you think our agencies are not working well there, or the number of the people in our agencies are very less as compared to the influx? What do you think is a basic and a genuine problem that we can't handle such?
Well, the people that control the agencies
They are corrupt.
They're corrupt.
They're
I
all
think.
corrupt. Absolutely. Everybody. You got to look at this. Everybody's making out.
I don't.
Yeah.
There's so much.
There's
money
corruption
that's
throughout the whole
being
thing,
spread
but
out.
I would have to lean towards most of the agents, like the actual agents, not not like higher up, not brass or anything like that, are much less corrupt. I'm not saying there's none, but they're much less corrupt than the higher up, because not one, like once the higher up gives a rule or gives a
Wait, what kind of groups are we talking about? Who's corrupt?
like the 3-letter agencies.
Oh, those you're talking about. Okay.
Right? Is that's what you're
Is
asking?
that what
like,
you're asking?
Like
Okay,
FBI?
I thought
like,
you meant like,
all
all the charities that were involved.
Oh no.
Okay.
Definitely them. But I'm
They
talking
are
about.
okay.
Yeah.
Is the number of the people guarding our borders are very less?
Yes. So I spoke to.
There's not enough.
No, they told me. Okay, so there is not enough. They don't have the resources or the manpower, and their hands are tied with policy and politics.
That's the
What
problem.
they told
And
me.
that's where
we
the
have
corruption
that, and
stems
I have
from,
that
yeah.
on film too. The guy said, "Please don't get my face, but I will tell you anything
Yeah.
you need to know." And they were very happy that we were there, and they said they wished more people would come and document what was going on. And like I said, every time we were out and about, we would just meet people, especially in
thing.
law enforcement, that would say, "Oh, hey, go to this area."
That's the thing. So
here's a
I would say
process
a
in place.
So I
majority
mean, our law
of
enforcement are honest people. They want
yes.
this to stop.
I would
right?
say a majority of the agents on the ground are not corrupt. I'm not going to say you all are not corrupt. The higher up you go, that the pyramid,
Ladder, yeah.
the more corrupt it is. But that just trickles down. Their corruption just trickles down because. I've heard the stat that 85% of people will do what they're told, even if they know it's wrong. Where 15% will kind of fight it.
Because see,
But people are going to do it. Like, it's their job. It's their
it's
livelihood.
their job. They have to put the butter on the,
But if
the
they-
bread and butter, right?
And that only goes so far with me, to be honest, because if you know what you're doing is wrong and you kind of know where this is all ending up, at some point you're complicit.
Yeah.
You can't be like, we're going to let them over, and then all of a sudden, when are you going to care? Like when something happens to your immediate family and not someone else's family, like in Minnesota or something like that, where they, the end of their travels, and all of a sudden, like, a rapist that you let over raped someone up there, but you're never going to hear about it. But if they raped your daughter or your son, then maybe you might think twice about it.
Right.
But that's kind of where we go. I mean, we're going on an hour and a half here.
I
Yeah.
just think people need to realize that
And I think people should, now the time has come to put our voice out that enough is enough, You have to stop it now.
Yeah, but they
Because
have
now
to. They
it's
have to
coming-
know why. They have to know why. Like
Yeah.
I said, people are thinking like, "Oh, it's these families that." Yeah, listen. There's a lot going on, and I think it's up to us
It's all
and
over the
others
world
to
it's going
educate.
on, right? So why don't you just welcome the whole world, 7 billion population?
Because there's so
come
many
and
people
settle
that
it.
are uneducated and unaware with what is taking place. They turn on CNN and they take whatever is forced down their throat and they believe it.
Yeah.
They believe it.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just-
sorry,
I don't-
mainstream media, it's all biased.
I call
yeah.
those people.
By the way, every single news outlet, when it all boils down, they're all owned by the same entities.
Right,
So when
right.
you're arguing with me about Fox and CNN, I'm like, hello. And
Yeah.
I don't watch
And the
Fox.
one-
I don't watch Fox.
don't.
I hate Fox.
I love Tucker, but I don't watch Fox.
Yeah.
I do my own
George
homework.
Soros is the one who handles all the media, right? And it's an open secret, right? So these headless chickens, I call them the headless chickens because they don't know anything. These are headless chickens, right?
No, they just reiterate. They just say what they're supposed to say or what they're told to say. But just to kind of, in summation, for anyone that may see this, that holds or is running for some sort of local office, get to the bottom of this. Like, figure it out. I don't like if you think it's a rumor, make sure it's a rumor. Let the people know that it's a rumor, even though we're pretty convinced that it's not a rumor at this point.
Too many people have confirmed this.
Too many people confirmed it,
We're talking about
yeah.
elected
And it's not
officials.
even-
We're talking. Wait, hold on. It's not just something that we heard at the campfire or a local watering hole. Okay, these are people that participated in these meetings. We talked to people that are in law enforcement. We talked to elected officials. We talked to people at a local level up to the county level. This is happening. Okay, this is happening. It wasn't that I just heard it from my neighbor and decided to go with it. No, we actually. You told me, and I didn't hear anything about it.
No.
And so I was like, what are you
Well, once
talking
I heard about it, and it was like,
You also
wasn't.
texted me,
It
right?
wasn't. I texted you,
Yeah.
but once I had heard about it, it was. It wasn't. I wasn't told not to say anything, obviously, but it was almost like it's a secret. Like, oh, this is kind of happening, and it's like, whoa, well, I'm telling everybody. Like,
Well, yeah, you told
I'm not.
me.
I'm not gonna. I think this is something like.
It's
The
a
fear,
freedom of speech,
the fear
right?
was, but the fear was that it's not true. Like, maybe it's not true, so I'm not going to say anything. Well, I was like, fuck
No,
that.
we did
Fuck
our
that.
homework, and the amount of people that confirmed
Even before I did my homework, it's like, hey, you know what? This is what I heard is happening. It might not be true, but let's make sure that it's not true.
Yeah,
I want to make sure that it's not true.
exactly.
And that's what bothers me the most about the candidates that are trying to fill these spots. It's like maybe they know about it, maybe they don't, but by now they should definitely know about
Investigate it.
it. Let them talk about it, bring it out into the open, because maybe the best case scenario is it turned out to be a rumor and it's not true. But you know what? At least it shows that you're fighting for your residents. It shows that,
Yeah,
like,
I
I
agree
care
with
what's
you.
going on. Like, I want it. Like, I heard this rumor and I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Right.
I would implore you to get to the bottom of it before it's too late.
Exactly.
Because once it's here, it's here. And for anyone that is in office, the best way, and I told this to you, the best way for you to fight this is to put it out in the open, have people go out there and talk about it. Hold up a sign, block a driveway going into these hotels, be like, hey, we're aware of this shit and we don't like it. And then at least if you're that local politician that let that out or you talked about it, now you're going to have people on your side because it shows that you care, even if you really don't. But it looks like you do.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important.
Exactly. 100%.
It's not going to happen in Rutherford. Come on.
No, it's not going to happen in Rutherford. But the
Outta
fact
here.
that,
you know how much stuff I exposed in Rutherford, and I got called a liar, and I got called the one woman in town. Actually, she accused me of being a fearmonger, trying to gain votes for the council candidates that year.
Yeah.
And that same numbnut now runs the page that deleted the post.
oh yeah, so we were censored. We were censored for asking the question on a. It's a public page, isn't it? It's not a private page. You
No,
don't have to
it's
join
public.
it. It's a public
It's
page on
public.
Facebook where someone asked the question about the migrants. What's going on with the migrants?
She shut that down real quick
Yeah, it got deleted. I think in one day.
in one day.
It was deleted in one day. The iron. Can I say it? Can I say the name
No,
of it?
no. Oh wait, no.
Of
no,
that- of the page?
No.
It's so ironic though.
Oh yeah. There you go.
The irony. What the hell do I give a shit? The irony of I don't care. The irony of the page is titled "Preserve Rutherford."
You're not going to preserve anything with what's.
But the odd thing is like it got deleted. Our comments got deleted, and the reason was because there was a lack of proof in the news media about it. Now, it's secret meetings. Like, what kind of news media do you expect in meetings that are held in secret that people are starting to hear about? That's all. I mean, that's what the question was.
This is the thing. You want to talk about ironic was that page was started. So after me and very few other people exposed a massive redevelopment that nobody in town knew about, that people called us liars, you're making this up, and this could never happen without nobody knowing. No, we did. We actually got the plans in our hands. We got tipped off in a nice delivery, and we tried to warn you guys. Nobody believed us. So that
And then
person
that's
who
what started
came
the page?
after me,
Yeah.
that person who came after me and, threatened, oh, you're just saying this because you're a Republican. What? I'm saying this because I'm a resident, number one. And I the lack of transparency. What bothered me was the lying. That's really what it is. I cannot stand elected officials lying. Should not happen.
Right.
So, but anyways, that page was started for transparency.
Yeah.
And the fact that she took down that page, took down that post over a rumor when in fact, at the time that, we exposed Agnew, it was just a rumor at the time.
Right.
It was in talks.
It's just stupid that it was taken down ultimately.
But this is the thing. So
it's just hypocritical.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But the whole point with that is that history repeats itself, and we keep allowing history to repeat itself. So we have a lack of transparency in Rutherford. I've been lied to multiple times, and which is on public record, by our elected officials when I ask questions, which is why I think it's very important to ask questions, because I want it on public record.
On the record, yeah.
Right.
I agree with you.
It's all recorded, and I want it on record. Go ahead. Don't answer me. I don't care if you do, because I already have the answer. I just want your reaction on public record.
Yeah, we just want to hear from the horse's mouth what they say, right?
Yeah.
Which you're not gonna, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it would be nice every now and then if someone stepped up and answered the questions that, and not in closed session.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yep.
I think it's utterly important that this topic gets talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, I really can't say it enough. It's really hitting me, but it again, what's going to happen is going to happen, but at least for the betterment of your residents, you should figure out for their safety, figure out who these people are. And that's it. Like, you know what? You may not be able to stop it. You're definitely not going to stop it behind a closed door. I know that. You may not be able to stop it, but at the same time, give your residents a fighting chance to protect themselves. And that's really it. Vet these people. That's really what it comes down to. We didn't get to everything. I think we're going to call it though for now.
All right.
We didn't get to everying, but
I think we're good.
But we covered
anything.
anything.
We covered a lot. We definitely covered a lot. We made our point, I'm sure. And
that's it.
That's it. Thanks for watching or listening or however you get this information.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Ankush, for coming out, and Jasmine. It's always good to have you. All right.
I just want the last thing is please
Shoot.
take whatever the oath you have taken. When you go to the office, stick to that oath, not to your big bosses. Big bosses will change. The oath will never change.
You're right. 100% right. The residents, the voters need to hold their feet to the fire
Right.
and hold them accountable. And that is the basis of this show, this episode, is to get people to do that, because this is all bullshit.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you.
Right.
Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you. Bye.